Everybody, this is Tom Williams and welcome to this episode of The Lost Miner. Tomorrow I'm going to be heading out to the property to get some more work done. So in this video I'm going to talk about what I'm going to work on. I'm also going to talk about how much I've spent so far, and I'm also going to talk about some interesting finds from my build, starting from the first property to this first one. Okay, so first, just to show you guys, I've talked about kind of one of my next steps is building the bottle wall so that I can go ahead and finish closing up the exterior wall. I was able to find some here locally in Houston, and also I've reached out on Instagram asking if anybody in the Terlingua area had any bottles, and Long Draw Pizza reached out to me and said that they would try to save some. So this weekend they're going to save some bottles, and I should be able to pick them up on Monday. Hopefully I can get a lot of them because I think I'm going to need a lot of bottles. I've got a glass bottle cutter. So this is basically what they look like. And kind of the idea is that you can, if you have a colored section, this is the interior. And then what you want to do is always have, unless you're trying to get on the exterior, you know, some kind of color pattern, use a clear glass. That way you get more light coming through, and really like all of the colored glass bottles that you have on the interior, so that they receive more light and just like really show up whenever the sun shines through it. So this is one finished brick. The frame on the wall is 6 inches. So if you add, I guess like a 1/4 inch on each side, I went ahead and made it 7 inches. That way I would probably be just at where it's flush, maybe a little bit more. So I've cut a lot of bottles that I've gotten here in Houston. I've got a lot more to do, and I'm going to be taking the glass cutter obviously out to my property. So I can, that'll be one thing I'll be doing during the week. So you'll see that whenever I show the build video. Okay, I'm going to talk about where I'm at on cost real quick. So initially, before I set out on building the A-frame, I just kind of budgeted in my mind. I knew there was probably a big chance that I would probably miss the budget. Anyway, I was budgeting at $15,000. That was a little too aggressive of a budget. So right now I'm at $14,201. Hey guys, just real quick while I break in the video right now. Some of these videos that I put out, may get 2,000 views. A lot of them just a few hundred views. The times I post videos where, it is getting up to like 2,000 views, a lot of people are not subscribing. I've got just shy of 300 subscribers, which I really appreciate. But I want to go ahead and ask you if this is the kind of content that you enjoy watching, please consider hitting like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss any episodes. And that'll really help. That'll really go a long way in helping me grow this channel. Thank you. If you look here at this spreadsheet that I've got, that's where I've been entering everything. I use QuickBooks as well, and there's always a little more expense to it. I mean, if I have like supplies that I need, sandpaper, whatever, consumables for building, all of that's in, absolutely everything is in QuickBooks, not necessarily here. It's mainly the big things. So I've got $14,201.93 total, and I kind of divided it up between the cabin itself, the roofing material, and the foundation. So I do a quick filter on here. So out of that 14,000, if we want to look at the A-frame, so I'm going to highlight all of this. Okay, you can't see it on the screen, but just what I have for the A-frame itself, and that's minus the roofing material. So I did a metal roof, so it's minus all of that material. That's at $10,442. And let me go ahead and filter on the foundation. Okay, again, you can't see it just because of I'd have to extend the recording down a little bit further, but that total on the foundation is $1,351. To me, that's not bad. I mean, we did it all ourselves. It was 6,000 pounds of concrete for all of the concrete piers. I think that's really good right there. I mean, you know, for the A-frame itself, I mean, you know, where I'm at so far, being able to do all that for, you know, for a little over $10,000 where I'm at, to me, that's really good. Especially whenever you look at the numbers, whenever I start renting it out and how long it'll take to pay for itself. It takes longer. You know, one thing I struggle with is being able to get things done quickly as opposed to just doing it myself. And of course, as I'm doing it on myself with the help of my son and, you know, my wife as well. If I was hiring out crews to go out there and help me, of course, I'd be done quicker and I wouldn't miss, like I'm already missing bookings. So I know there is also the opportunity cost. I could calculate, hey, I'm, you know, missing potentially, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 in bookings a month. Anyway, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to put that stress on myself. But obviously, because I'm doing all of the labor, I'm saving a huge amount of money, and the payback period will be pretty short on it. Okay, I got all my roofing materials at Mueller's in Odessa, and that came out to $2,409 basically. So not bad as well. I mean, think about it. How much does it take to get a roof replaced in your area where you live? I know here in the Houston area, you know, it could be well over $25,000, of course, depending on the size of your roof. But the fact that me doing it myself and only having to pay for those roofing materials, that's a huge savings. Okay, so now what I want to do is talk about some of the really cool finds on my first property and the second one. The Big Bend area has a really interesting history going back from present to millions and millions of years ago. All right. So I just want to talk through real quick about some of the periods of the Big Bend, kind of what it was like over the last 100 million years. And then I'm going to talk about where these fossils fit in on that. And I'll do a close-up of the fossils as well. Okay, so from present to 2 million years ago, it was I'm probably butchering some of these names of the periods, the Pleistocene period. So that was the Ice Age to the modern desert ecosystem that you see now, which is the Chihuahua Desert. And then as we go back past 2 million years ago, 5 million to 30 million years ago, erosion starts shaping the landscape. Grasslands expand, and there's a lot of different types of mammals in the area. This is crazy here. It's, I use ChatGPT, so I know there could be maybe some hallucinations or something like that. But if it's correct, it shows some examples here back 5 million to 30 million years ago, whenever it was grasslands out there in the Big Bend and not desert, there were camels, rhinos, and mastodons. Pretty interesting to try to imagine that. Okay, then 30 million to 50 million years ago, you had the uplift of mountains start to begin. You've got the Chisos Mountains out there, biggest draw to the area. Several other mountains. I'm not going to go through and list all the names of them. But when you go out to the Big Bend, you look at all these mountains, that's the time period that all of that started to happen, 30 to 50 million years ago. There's a lot of volcanic activity. Okay, then we get into where the periods where these fossils that I'm about to show you came from. So we got 50 million to 66 million years ago. That was the Paleocene to Eocene area time periods. I may be butchering that pronunciation. So during this time period, the Big Bend becomes a tropical forested landscape. Okay, you've got mammal diversification, where you've got early primates, horses and others, petrified wood and plant fossils preserved in river deposits. Okay. So some of these, the petrified wood that I'm going to show you likely came from this Paleocene to Eocene era, the 50 to 66 million years ago. Possibly older than that. You know, it could be, you know, after the seas started to recede 70 million years ago. But anyway, let's focus on this for right now, 50 to 66 million years ago. So on our current property, I found this huge chunk. It is really heavy too. So huge chunk of petrified wood. I've got some smaller pieces that I've found out there as well. But isn't that cool? I mean, you can see all of the wood detail in there. You know, where maybe insects had burrowed into the wood. Man, it is just really cool. I love this piece of petrified wood. You can see the knots in it right here. Okay, so this is my favorite piece right here, but I also have some bark. So take a look at that. Solid rock. So this looks to me like it came from an oak tree right here. You see what it looks like on the back. Pretty cool. Okay. All right. So now we're going to look. I've got another one that could have been in this area. This is actually, I'll show you in a second. This is actually from some kind of reptile. It could have been a turtle or some other reptile. I'll show you a close up in a second. Okay, so now let's go back 66 million years ago. That's whenever an asteroid impacts led to mass extinction and the dinosaurs vanished, okay? 66 million years ago. So this one actually right here could have been before that. Could have been after. I mean, kind of around this area is where you started getting turtles, crocodiles, you know, things like that showing up in the area. So let me show you this right here. Check that out. Isn't that cool? Look at that. So what do you think? Turtle, some kind of reptile? I can envision this as maybe a turtle, but also really looks like some kind of reptile as well. Okay, let's go back even further. So 66 million years ago to 70 million years ago, this was the end of the Cretaceous period. You had you know, volcanoes, shifting rivers, lush forest again, and the Big Bend. Here's some give some examples of some of the dinosaurs in the area, and then, like I mentioned, turtles, crocodiles, and animals are common. Then now, okay, 70 to 80 million years ago, you had basically basically the sea went into Texas, you know, covered a pretty big area, just kind of going right into the United States, basically from the Gulf. There was a big inland sea. From what I understand, it was probably kind of shallow. And then 80 to 100 million years ago, that's the late Cretaceous, and what was called the Western Interior Seaway was present in the area of the Big Bend. So much of Texas, including Big Bend, was under a shallow inland sea. Marine life, ammonites, clams, oysters, snails, mosasaurs, sharks. So probably 80 to 100 million years ago, that's where we're looking for these next fossils that I'm going to show you. All right, so here you go. That's a snail right there. Hopefully you can see it. There we go. All right. And this is some kind of clam right here. right, you can see it embedded. You can even feel the texture on it. And a piece of, I'm not really sure. I think this is a piece of limestone right here. Okay, so I really love these finds, but there are people that I know out there that have way more spectacular finds. I know a guy out there that's got, he's got the fossil of like the head of those big sea dinosaurs. I can't remember the name, but basically a really long kind of head, kind of like, I guess, an alligator, then kind of the fins where an alligator would have, where they have their feet, fins and then long tails. So you can actually see those in the park in the fossil exhibit. But I know somebody out there, and he showed it to me in his fossil collection, part of the head of one. It was really freaking cool. And he also has a much bigger piece of petrified wood. I mean, like really big tree trunk. There's somebody out there, I haven't seen it, but somebody was telling me one of the short-term rentals out there, they've got a whole turtle shell. So that's pretty cool. So hope you guys enjoyed hearing a little bit about the history of the Big Bend region, at least the fossil history. I'll keep you guys updated on how we're doing on the budget as we go forward. Hopefully it doesn't get too much more expensive than that. And I'll go ahead and end it here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.